What's up, Fiend fan, and welcome to another video. As we all know, Harley-Davidson recently held their Pan America launch event back on February 22nd. I'm pretty excited for this bike, and I think it has a ton of potential. In this video, I want to go over 4 reasons that I think the Pan America will be successful, as well as 4 reasons why I think it could fail. While I have been known to be critical of the bar and shield, as always, know that it comes from a place of care and concern. I want to see HD thrive in the new reality that is motorcycling right now because I love the company and their bikes. I also often say more competition in the market is always a good thing for all riders, no matter the type and brand of bike we ride. With that said, let's go. Technology. First up is technology. Harley definitely threw off the shackles of the design and technological corner that they've painted themselves into with all previous bikes up to this point, save for the V-Rod and Livewire, both of which we'll talk about later in the video. I know I wasn't the only person super excited to hear about the Mocos bringing adaptive ride height to the Pan America. As someone with a relatively short inseam, the thought of being able to flat foot the Pan America while at a stop is definitely a huge plus. The semi-active front and rear suspension that continuously monitors weight inputs in order to have a continuous optimum suspension sag at speed is another great feature. My only problem with it is that they're only available on the higher priced Pan America 1250 Special model, and it'll run you an extra 1,000 bones for the privilege. The toolless adjustable rear brake pedal is a welcome feature, and the 5 ride modes, including 1 user adjustable plus the 5 suspension modes, make for a beast that you can tailor to your individual riding style and specific terrain. Of course, no discussion of the Pan America would be complete without bringing up the Revolution Max engine. The 1250cc mill pumps out 150 horsepower and is good for a reported top speed of around 135 miles per hour. Because Harley designed the engine to be a stressed member of the frame, they were able to get the weight down to a respectable 559 pounds wet. While that's not light to be sure, it's in line with other ADV bikes of its displacement and almost a full 50 pounds lighter than its main competitor, the BMW R1250 GS. It was probably a cost and weight saving measure, but HD could have gone with a shaft drive and still come under that BMW's weight. Price. Some may quibble here, but the next reason is price. I thought for sure Harley was going to release the Pan America well north of 20 large, and you can't necessarily blame me considering the disastrous launch of the Livewire. The Pan America lines up nicely in price and features with other scoots in their same segment and is a few thousand less than the flagship ADV model BMW sells. Time will tell how much Harley will charge for maintenance costs and what they're going to ask for HD branded accessories and other farkles. They've already got gear listed up on their website with the typical Harley tax included, but we're not here to talk about jackets and gloves, just the bike itself, which actually leads nicely into the next reason. Aftermarket support. We could say a lot of things about the bar and shield. One place Harley owners aren't lacking in is the aftermarket support department. When HD releases all the Pioneer options and other farkles, you can bet that the aftermarket will be there in short order to offer options that are just as high quality, if not better, and likely at a more reasonable cost. ADV riders are a much more practical group than your average Harley rider, so function will definitely come before form. I can see bags, accessory lighting, and skid plates to lead the charge of what will be a robust aftermarket for the Pan America shortly after launch, especially if initial sales are strong. Dealer network. One thing that Harley will have over the competition is their vast dealer network. Very few owners have to go too far to find one here in the USA, and they have reach abroad that only the largest of others can claim. If I were so inclined to purchase a BMW R1250 GS, the closest dealer to me is almost 200 miles away in another state. If I wanted to keep it here in New York, I'd have to go almost double that distance. I've only ever seen one Africa Twin at a dealership locally, and it was almost an hour away from me. Another dealer said that they could get one in, but only would do so unless I put down a deposit and planned to purchase it. The Pan America will likely be at all HD dealerships across the US and in many places around the world shortly after its release in May. And considering that ADV riders take rides to more far-flung places than your average street riders go, it's nice to know that there will be myriad places to get service or to pick up parts while out and about. Now that we've gone over the reasons why I think the Pan America will be successful, let's go over the reasons why I think it could fail. No middleweight or entry-level options. In my opinion, this is the biggest reason why the Pan America might not be successful. Sure, the 1250 and the 1250 Special are great bikes, but the middleweight ADV market is the largest growing segment in motorcycling right now. A big, powerful adventure touring bike is great when you're tearing down the tarmac or exploring some gravel or fire roads, but you'll find less and less riders who are going to go on technically difficult terrains opting for a 500 plus pound behemoth. Those are typically the realm of dual sports and supermotos, which usually have weights of under 400 pounds. And as I've said with regards to Harley's bigger cruisers and touring bikes, you have to get riders in on the ground level so that they can move up to those larger, more expensive bikes. The Moco isn't likely to see a huge swing from ADV riders of other manufacturers' bikes to the Pan America, so they need to be working on a homegrown solution. Suzuki offers the SV650, Honda has the CB500X, Yamaha has the Tenere 700, and Triumph has the Tiger 850 and 900. You get the point. And I'm not even talking about the Versys or KTM's 390 Adventure, a bike that has 90% of the Pan America's features for about a third of the price. I know HD has and is trying to structure itself as a premium brand. But as I've said in a previous video, over 60% of Americans can't handle a $500 emergency. Granted, most of those people aren't looking to get into motorcycling, let alone ADV touring, but it still helps put the shrinking pool of potential buyers into perspective. They've sunk all this R&D money into the Pan America, some of which will obviously see new life in other bikes, but the easiest way to recoup costs is to sell a lot of units, something they won't necessarily do on a $20,000 bike. Already crowded segment. Like the previous point, this one is no less important. Other than Harley and Indian, few manufacturers have a glut of cruisers and touring style motorcycles. But just about every manufacturer that has an ADV and or dual sport line has multiple offerings at different price and performance points. Again, this is an example of the Moco jumping in with both feet, but almost immediately pinning themselves into a corner. While Harley riders are some of the most dedicated and brand loyal people out there, the ADV market is no different. And it isn't like having an issue on the side of a major highway where you can just use your mobile phone to call AAA or flag someone down. Those riders could break down tens of miles from the nearest sign of civilization, if not further, and they may have to literally need to rely on their bike to keep them alive. I typically never buy into any computer software or device at version 1.0 when the stakes are low, especially when it's a company not to know in the space, which leads into perceived lack of expertise in the area. During the Pan America launch video, Harley spent an inordinate amount of time discussing the adventure and off-road pedigree that their bikes have had over the last century. But here's the thing, aside from that one Baja 500 win, none of that came from Harley directly. It's been us Harley owners and riders who've made the modifications to take our street-focused cruisers into places they haven't been. In the first half of the 20th century, it was necessary as a lot of roads were yet to be paved, so the bikes got outfitted for dirt riding as a matter of course. Fast forward to today. When most riders think of off-road adventures, Harley is likely the last bike that comes to mind. Like the last 2 points, the Moco is going to have an uphill battle trying to win over riders who've cut their teeth on KTMs, BMWs, Hondas, and the like. Add in the fact that it's a wholly new engine and platform, and it might lead more people to taking a wait-and-see approach. I'm not one of those people who thinks that one bike can save a company. I am one of those people who thinks if it isn't handled right, it can help hasten a company's demise when they are already struggling in the market to begin with. Existing HD riders. Lastly, we come to another vital reason. Up until the Livewire and Pan America, the V-Rod was Harley's most technologically advanced bike in quite some time. It was hated and didn't sell well. Large swaths of Harley owners had all kinds of issues with it, from the engine being jointly designed with Porsche to its liquid-cooled mill. It didn't matter that it made more power than the twin cam, and in some cases almost doubly, all in an engine that was smaller than the Sportster 1200s. And while Harley did themselves no favor by only releasing the Livewire as a 30K Halo bike, it still wasn't too well received. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of muscle cars from the 1960s, but the safety and creature comforts like heated and cooled seats, power steering, and airbags make today's cars much better than those of yesteryear. And that's not even bringing up the insane amount of power that some of those are making. If I'm an outsider looking in and I'm interested in one of the Moco's new bikes, but it's being trashed by the company's most die-hard fans, I might think twice about looking into them. If you own a Harley and want to see them survive, you need to get behind them moving into the 21st century. You don't need to go out and buy a new bike with a Revolution Max engine, but it's where the future is headed. We should enjoy our current Harleys, but we need to recognize that the Moco needs to do this in order to continue. So, all that being said, what do I think? I think the Pan America is definitely a step in the right direction for the Moco. They'll likely have a hard time winning over riders of other flagship ADV bikes, especially if they only continue to offer the larger, more expensive models. It's going to be an uphill battle, but I think that overall the Pan America will be successful for the Moco. Harley, if by some crazy stretch you do happen across this video and actually watch it, please listen. Start a plan to bring in new riders with bikes that don't weigh in at over 500 pounds and cost almost $10,000. You can't get people jumping at $30,000 touring bikes unless they've come up organically through your lineup. Okay, that'll do it for this video. If you're new here, I make weekly content. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. Click the bell icon to be notified every time a new video is uploaded. If you like the video, leave a like and comment telling me what you think will be the reasons the Pan America can succeed or what you might think might make it difficult. We're already close to 200 subscribers, Fiend fam. I know that over 80% of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so go ahead and sub so that you can be part of my giveaways. I love giving back to this community, and the more exposure the channel gets, the more I can do to give back. As always, stay shiny side up. Throttle Fiend out.